somebody wrote in, I have mostly great reviews on Yelp, Facebook, and Google, but I've received some 1-star feedback or with some negative feedback. I want to defend myself, but not really sure what to do. How should I respond to negative criticism online?
That's a great question. I think people's natural tendency is to get defensive and to post a reply back that would defend their position, maybe justify if something that some person is saying is there's some truth to it. They may want to justify why it happened that way and things like that. I tend to think the best way when people read reviews, a lot of times, I don't know if everybody's like this, but let's say somebody's got 300 5-star reviews and they've got a couple 1-star reviews. I'm actually pretty curious to read what the 1-star review is sometimes. Like I want to see what exactly happened. So I view those reviews sometimes as being an opportunity for you to show people that are reading the reviews what kind of company you actually are running and to demonstrate the quality of service you bring. So my advice in those situations, although you might have to do it through gritted teeth a little bit, is to say, it's just, and I'm just riffing on this, but say, we're sorry that you had a bad experience. We strive to, make sure all of our customers are satisfied. We apologize that doesn't seem like that we hit the mark with you. We'd love to connect with you offline to figure out what we can do to make this situation better. I think that accomplishes a couple different things. One, I think it accomplishes the fact that if that person has a justifiable or an unjustifiable grief, maybe you could take that offline and maybe figure out a way to make that person happy. But maybe more importantly is you've demonstrated to everybody that's reading that review that you actually care and that you're willing to try to come up with a reasonable resolution to make sure that they're happy. And I think sometimes the way a company deals with a bad review says more about the company than the way they deal with the 250 5-star reviews. It's easy to get on a 5-star review and say, thanks for the feedback in your business. We appreciate you. It's a lot harder when somebody has been a jerk or whatever and posted something to, your reviews that is not exactly in alignment with maybe the truth or how things played out, and to bite your tongue and still respond in a positive way, I think says a lot about your company, and it's going to actually yield you benefits in the future, even if that 1-star review stands, because people are going to see that you're a company committed to good customer service.
Yeah, no, it's funny because right before this comment came in, my wife had me go take our dog to the groomer, and she was like, hey, kind of give it a once over, kind of check them out and see what you think. And it was one of those things. I went on Yelp and kind of went through and I did exactly what you said. I went immediately to the 1-star reviews just to see, like, people are going to have glowing comments about certain places. I was just like, let me see what some of the negative feedback is and how do they respond to it. And at least for me, it was the couple that I read, there was one that was a really long response, but it gave me a definite idea. Like the person defended themselves, seemed to be cordial for the most part in the response. Like it wasn't I don't know what you're talking about, you're an idiot. It was, no, this happened, and kind of explained, at least to me as a new customer, like the situation, because I think that's what's the most important thing is anybody that's going to read those reviews like could be a potential customer, and it's like, how are you going to treat me if I have an issue with something, and how is this all going to go if there is a problem that I foresee, especially like with an animal or your kids. Those are going to be reviews that you definitely, it's kind of out of your hands, and you want to make sure that they're taken care of. So it's a little bit different if it's like an auto tint. Obviously it's like, oh, you can kind of replace this, but if something happens to somebody that you love, like that's a little bit different. So it's one of those things, like making sure that I felt comfortable reading a negative review. And for me personally, I would say leave that up for sure, just because it's something that I want to see what the issue was and how you responded to it. And that's just one of those things, like if you get negative reviews, sometimes it's okay as long as you respond properly. And I think that's
Amen. Amen. I think you're exactly right. In fact, the only time I would say we've often had clients reach out to me and say, hey, we got a 1-star review and it's kind of, it's kind of BS, or, even in a situation where we think it's a competitor and we don't even have any record that we ever did business with this person or anything like that. In those situations where you feel like it's a fraudulent review or it's somebody just trying to essentially smear your name, there is a mechanism on most of the platforms you can go through to dispute the review and say, hey, we have no record we ever did business with this person. And oftentimes, if you go through that process, you could potentially get the review removed. Now, obviously, Google or Yelp or any of them are going to do their due diligence because they want to make sure you're just not trying to whitewash any bad review that you get. But in general, if it's a legitimate review, but the person's just upset, I agree with you. Responding to it in a cordial, polite, professional way, trying to say, take the conversation offline, but also demonstrate to anybody that's reading it that you're willing to seek a resolution that's going to make everybody happy, I think speaks volumes about your company. If it is a completely illegitimate review and it's a fake review or you don't have any record that you even ever dealt with a person, I would submit to try to get it reviewed or removed, because I think in those situations, it's hard to respond and say something when you're like, we never even did business with this person.